How can I acquire my own fitness franchise? Is real estate still a good investment in a high interest climate? And what is the future of crypto? Welcome to the very first episode of the Investing Teacher Podcast. I'm your host, Tim Cavey, and my mission here is to help middle income earners learn how to invest wisely and build financial freedom even in uncertain times. Note that we are here to freely share our opinions. For real financial advice, please seek the services of a professional advisor. Today's investor is Peter Cavey, my brother. Peter and his wife are the owners of multiple Anytime Fitness franchises. Today, Peter is looking for the best ways to dominate in the fitness industry and grow with the AF brand nationally. You can connect with Peter on Instagram at The Real Motivated Millennials. Peter, thank you so much for coming on the show today. Are you ready to talk investing?
I'm ready, Tim. Thanks for having me.
It is such a pleasure, brother. And like I said, episode 1, can't think of a better guest or someone I'd rather talk to about building wealth and investing wisely over time. Before we talk investing, Peter, we need to get into your story. Tell us a little bit about a period of adversity that you've faced somewhere in your financial or personal journey. What was that like and how did you overcome it?
So I was thinking about this and we have a lot of crazy stories, but one that really sticks out to me is when we had our first club open in 2013. We were trying to get our second club open, and this was in about 2015. And we had a contractor that unfortunately we had to fire, and they were holding a lot of our money. So we essentially had to just kiss that money goodbye and kind of move forward with what we had and get the job done. That was a really tough time. And it was very scary, but we got through it. Got the gym open and moved on. Close second would be the COVID times, but yeah.
Yeah, there's a whole story there. I know for sure. I can't imagine just starting out on the journey, having to make that kind of a difficult decision. What led you and your wife, Peter, and of course, I know your wife well, my sister-in-law, Shannon. What led you and Shannon to the point of buying your first franchise, and what has that journey been like?
Yeah, so it was 2012, we found out we were expecting our first child, and Shannon had just started her job as a financial advisor, and I was in sales for a phone, internet, TV company, MTS. And then after we found out that the baby was coming, then the financial institution that had hired Shannon decided that she was not a good fit for the team. And it was definitely because they knew that our child was coming. So it was pretty controversial, very scary time for us. And it still bothers me a lot. But it ultimately caused us to make a change and look at opening a business together. We came across Anytime Fitness because we were very interested in fitness at the time, being young and starting to work out. And we jumped into it. It was very small in Manitoba at the time. There was only a couple locations. So it was a good time to get going too.
Yeah, I remember at the time you were looking at different brands, what's available, and Anytime, for anyone who's not familiar with the brand, Anytime is sort of unique in the sense that it literally is open anytime. It's a 24-hour fitness franchise, and that is something that sets it apart from a lot of other brands. I'm curious, when you were looking around the franchise landscape, did you look at other niches? Did you look at opening a Subway or other franchises that were available at that time?
We looked at Snap Fitness, especially because we were working out at that gym at the time. I was not interested really in the food industry as much. We mostly were looking in the fitness industry at the time. I felt like it was good. I really wanted to get into something service-based and not product. So,
well, it's been an eventful ride ever since. So give me the chronology a little bit. What year did you buy your first Anytime Fitness franchise?
So we bought the franchise rights in 2012, December, and then we actually opened our first club in August of 2013 in Selkirk, Manitoba.
So 2013 was franchise number one. Fast
Mhm.
forward to 2024, and what number are you up to today?
So we have five open right now, and we're working on three future locations,
Wow.
and any other possibilities that come up. So it's an
Right.
exciting time. I feel like, especially after COVID really was over, the industry really had a good rebound. So,
So, Peter, this show is for middle income earners, educators, other people in that sort of middle class, steady salary kind of an income situation. For people in that particular profile, I'm interested to hear your advice. Is franchising still a viable opportunity for people who I just described? I mean, I know that franchise costs have gone up a lot over the last 12 years. So, what's your sense and what would you advise people in a situation like mine?
so I think that it is very much a full time job. I've seen people try and hold on to their full time job while also doing this on the side, and it works very mediocre level. I think that it is still possible, but it's definitely something that you need to almost make a transition to for it to be really successful. Particularly if you're getting into a franchise, you most likely want to have more than one location to replicate the process, right? So um, you definitely can't do that until you build up a good team, and it requires full time focus.
I think that point that you just made is really important, and I don't want my listeners to miss it. You want to get into franchising only if you have a vision to scale outward from that first location, right? You would agree that if someone is thinking about just buying the one franchise location and just sitting on that alone, it's not going to be profitable over the long term. Would you agree with that assessment?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it could be somewhat profitable still, but it shouldn't be your goal to just own one because otherwise you're essentially just buying yourself a job. And I think there's other opportunities out there. You know, a lot of middle class people are making great incomes being employed at their workplace without having to have all the stress of owning a business.
Peter, you recently made a small move into long distance residential real estate investing, which is really exciting. And for those listening, we are based in Canada. So you are essentially landlording a property in another province. How has that gone for you so far? And what are your thoughts about investing in real estate at a time when interest rates are really scary for a lot of people?
So my philosophy with the residential real estate investments that we're starting is hold on to them for the long term because I'm not I'm not feeling like it's not like the gyms. You know, it's not just a cash flow business. It's something to hold on to long term. So I'm expecting to have a lot of problems along the way and maybe to not make very much cash flow, but it's a long term investment.
The way I look at it, I'm injecting my own thoughts and opinions here, but I mean, we've seen a tremendous growth in rents. I think here in the lower mainland of BC, rents have basically doubled over the last 5 to 10 years. And so I just think even if the cash flow is meager at the beginning, it's only going to get better. And that's something that really encourages me when I think about real estate investing. Peter, I want to talk about other asset and investment classes as well, because I know you think about all of these to some extent. When it comes to stocks, bonds, real estate, we just talked about venture capital, meaning you're investing in other businesses, cryptocurrency. Which would be your favorite investment class and why?
I'm most excited about the gyms itself, but the stocks
Right.
are a close second. I really enjoy the single stocks, but that's the risk taker in me. Overall, we've been getting more into the ETFs themselves, and for those that don't know, that's just basically a collection of stocks, and so
Mhm.
it's just a safer investment.
Cryptocurrencies, Peter, have had quite a ride for the last 5 to 10 years now. You know a lot more than I do in this space. And of course, right, I do know that right now Bitcoin and I think Ethereum, some of the other major players, are enjoying a nice little bit of a rebound. How do you view the future of cryptocurrency?
I think crypto is here to stay, and I don't think that it is what a lot of people think it is that are really into it. I don't think that it is a change from our current um, currency to a new one. I think that it's more than anything just um, a bet on the future, and most of it is a scam. But we'll see.
Yeah, a lot of, since you mentioned that, I mean, a lot of cryptocurrencies have been proven over time to be basically scams or Ponzi schemes, but we know that Bitcoin is in a little bit of a different conversation, a little bit of a different category there. What's been the single most positive investment move you've ever made? I have a feeling we're going back to the beginning of your franchising journey here, but maybe you'll surprise me.
No, that's definitely it. Is going back to the beginning, deciding to be self-employed and start our own business. I think that was a great move, and it was very hard to start out, not just because of all of the business hurdles, but also to figure out how to now work with my wife and things like that. Different challenges that way, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, gotta include that. You two are a tremendous team. That's probably a whole other podcast episode, looking at husband wife CEO combos and how that works, and some of the secrets to success there. Looking back on your investing journey, what's one change, Peter, that you wish you could go back in time to make?
I've been thinking about this quite a bit, and it's hard to pinpoint exactly. Other than, like, I really wish I'd started sooner. I wasted some time in university, unfortunately, and I think Shannon would say the same. We both kind of moved into things that we did not pursue at all, and I was raised in a house of employee, basically. So both my parents were employees, and kind of they raised me that way to get a good job. It wasn't bad advice, but I guess I never looked at other alternatives. So
Yeah, I mean, in some ways, it's kind of a funny question, right? Because there are so many things you can say, like, "Oh, I wish I had bought 1,000 shares of Tesla. I wish I'd bought 1,000 shares of Apple," and on and on and on. But I think for a lot of us, like when I think back, man, I just think I wish I had gotten into real estate sooner.
mhm.
That would have been a difference maker. Like there are so many regrets that I have, and to some extent, you have to let those go. But I think they can also be learning moments for other people listening as well. Peter, you talked about single stocks, and I know you keep an eye on the stock market. What's your strategy in the stock market right now? Is there a season that you're in?
It's just to continue on slowly investing in the ETFs. I'm trying to follow more of Dave Ramsey's philosophy with that, and that is investing should be very slow, should be very boring, and the single stocks, I have a lot of those still, but I learned a lesson with that, and I've got to just hold on to a bunch of those because they're very volatile, right? So you've got to just hope that they work out, and because I invested in a lot of new companies too, so nowadays I'm just doing the ETFs.
Okay, I didn't realize. See, I'm so glad we're having this conversation. I didn't realize that ETFs were such an important piece of your investing strategy right now. So that brings me to my next question. Is there a specific investment or maybe an ETF that is getting you excited right now?
The gyms are the biggest excitement for me for investing, really, and I think that I'm just really excited on this next project we're working on. We're going to get another gym open for sure this year, and then hopefully even early next year. And that's just really exciting to me. I feel like things are really picking up speed in there. So
And is that gym, I don't know if you're able to say, maybe this is classified information, but is that location going to be in Manitoba? Is it going to be in another province?
it will be in Manitoba. I don't want to say the location yet,
Sure.
but and and I just need to make sure a few more things are completed before I announce. So.
Peter, what is one piece of advice that you would share with middle-aged earners who are typically older than you? Okay, so in some ways this question is kind of funny, but I know you have a lot of insight here. Thinking about that teacher who maybe they've been putting in time for 25 years. I described this person at the top of the conversation. They're earning a reasonable salary, maybe close to six figures, and they're contributing to their pension plans. Do you have any insight or advice for that kind of income earner who is starting to think about exiting the profession and thinking about what their retirement might look like?
Kind of how you ended off the question is really what they hopefully have been considering for a long time, how they want to live their retirement life. And they need to think about how expensive that is annually, right? And what they need to continue the lifestyle they're hoping in retirement. Because going back to Dave Ramsey, he gets a lot of calls from people that are basically turning a certain age and they feel like they should retire, but maybe they're not quite ready for what they're wanting. So I think
Mhm.
that's the biggest thing, is just to have some sort of system set up where you know that you can continue the life you want.
Peter, outside of finance and investing, what's another area of learning for you? I guess another way of framing this is, what else are you investing in that ignites your passions and brings you alive as a human being?
Well, the fitness industry is definitely number one. I love to see all of the life changes that we make. Um, we are taking care of 3,300 people right now in Manitoba, and it's great to see the ones that make amazing changes in their lives. We try and help out as many people as possible, so it's really exciting to see how this business really is beneficial for people and helping them out.
Yeah, just on that point, Peter, I mean, I think you raise a really important piece of this whole franchising in anytime fitness conversation. And that is, you can, I won't say pat yourself on the back, but you can feel a sense of gratification and satisfaction about the fact that, wow, our members are actually improving their lives by using our product in a sense. Do you think that is an important piece of the franchising vision? I mean, would you feel less motivated if you were in a space where you weren't actually helping people?
Definitely, yeah. Shannon and I have talked about this quite a bit, how we could never be involved in something that we truly didn't believe in. I think that, yeah, whether you're a Subway franchisee that's excited to feed people, or in our case, in the fitness industry, you've got to be passionate about it to some degree. And now I will say that I did learn a mistake, and that is to get involved in a business that I personally enjoy, because it can kind of take the joy out of it a little bit. Um, but I've had a good balance over the years, and especially now that I'm not going in for the day-to-day work as much. The members don't know me as well, so I can get my own personal workout in without feeling like it's my workplace as much anymore.
Right. You don't have members whispering like, oh, there's the owner, and people coming over to talk to you necessarily. Peter, share about a personal habit or a productivity hack that has contributed to your investment success. Now, I know that you are a busy dad. That's a really important part of your life. So you're not able to maybe control your time the same way that I can. But is there a daily habit or something that you go to that helps you stay productive?
Yeah. Well, the nice thing is that I can control a lot of things in my life still, since I can control my own hours and things like that. So we're able to do things like homeschool the kids, and so it definitely does help that way, that I'm able to adjust my schedule. But I would say overall, yeah, one personal habit would be to just in the evening plan things out with Shannon and make sure that we're both on the same page, and we're both moving towards the goals that we agree on.
Nice. Tell us about one person that we should follow on X, formerly Twitter. Now, I know you've taken off from X. You're no longer there for the time being. I'm going to try to convince you to come back. It's such a great finance and investing platform. Instagram, LinkedIn. Is there anyone out there who you would say, wow, that person is inspiring me? They're worth a follow?
I've given a shout out a couple times to Dave Ramsey. I really like his
Yes.
consistency. I'm more of the, as he calls, the Dave-ish person. So
Right.
I don't follow him all the way with everything. But and he acknowledges that there's a lot of successful people out there that don't follow him all the way, but he will point out that you do need to be consistent with your strategy and not try and like balance some weird mix, I guess.
He tells it like it is. If you're not familiar with Dave Ramsey, he's another person worth tuning into. He's got his own podcast and radio show and YouTube channel. So he's the king of finance content. Recommend a book. Has there been one that has impacted your thinking over time, Peter?
There's a few that come to mind. Again, number one, Entre Leadership with Dave Ramsey. That was really impactful for me. Really good for leadership in business and just in general too. And Rich Dad, Poor Dad with Robert Kiyosaki. It's a really good one. I really enjoyed that too. They're kind of conflicting ideas sometimes, but yeah.
Isn't he fun when he shows up on TikTok or in Reels? Robert Kiyosaki is like, this guy, I mean, he's brilliant. He makes some brilliant points here. And then he says some things over here that you're like, what?
He's definitely out there and makes a lot of very crazy predictions. But he's been right on a lot of things, I would say. And his biggest thing that I have enjoyed is his definition of what a asset is. Because I agree with him, it should be something that puts money in your pocket, which is unfortunately not your house.
Right. A lot of people, and that's a great point. A lot of people look to their home as their biggest piece of their investment plan. But Robert Kiyosaki would say, okay, you're not really making your money work for you. And what are you investing in that is actually going to sort of spill off some passive income? I know the whole passive income conversation is one that we could get into another time. I mean, how passive is it? Some of these forms, like real estate, are not purely passive, but I think he would say invest in things that actually make you money. Right. Well, Peter, this has been so great. We're rounding out this very first episode of the Investing Teacher podcast. As you think about episode 2 and moving forward, I know we share a lot of mutual family, friends. You've got some great business and entrepreneurship connections. Is there one investor that you would recommend I interview here on the Investing Teacher podcast?
Yeah. So I was thinking about this. I've got a friend. His name is Justin Dueck. You should reach out to him. He owns a great company called Top Stitch in Winnipeg, and they do a lot of custom furniture work for restaurants and high-end clients. I think he would be great to talk to.
Okay, Justin Dueck, get your phone ready. Actually, not your phone, but I look forward to speaking with you. I think that would be great. Peter, as we close out, I know you are not the king of social media right now, but what are the best ways for my listeners on the podcast to follow you and connect with what you're doing in the franchising space?
So I haven't done a post in a while at the Real Motivated Millennials, but we do have a podcast and Instagram page there. So follow that, and hopefully soon I can reboot that.
Absolutely. And if I can be a part of building a podcast angle on the Real Motivated Millennials, I would love to be a part of that. Peter, brother, thank you so much. This has been fun and enlightening. I've learned a few things, and I know my listeners have as well. Investors, I'm your host, Tim Cavey, and I'm so grateful that you decided to spend some of your day either watching us here on YouTube or tuning into the audio-only version of the podcast. If you enjoyed the content you heard today from Peter, make sure to connect with him, as he said, on Instagram at The Real Motivated Millennials. In the meantime, keep investing, and I'll meet you next week right here on the Investing Teacher Podcast. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.